Hey guys, welcome to the third set between FlaSh and Calm. Right now it is tied 1-1, and this is one of those maps, Fighting Spirit, where Terran have actually been doing pretty well statistically, but I think Zerg should win every single time on this map. Granted, it's a little bit more of a long economic map, and when it comes to just heads-up macro versus heads-up macro, I've got to give FlaSh the edge, but at the same time, when you have bases that are so easy to guard, really, when you can just take that third gas with no problem, you should be able to win this match. So I expect a little bit of a longer game, a little bit more of a heads-up macro game, and honestly, I think it could go either way. I think FlaSh is very strong again with his macro, but Calm is just so clever with his builds. He's so clever with troop positioning, and it's not going to be that hard for him, I think, to take that third base. So let's see what he's up to. Winning game 2, pure Mutalists, and this is, I think, the winner of this match could very well take the entire set.
Yeah, this is a very, very important match. When you're tied up like this, it's going to put it at, whoever wins this game is going to be at 2-1, and just going to have that one game, that one more game that they need to take out the win. It gives them a huge amount of momentum, puts the other person kind of on the defensive because they're afraid of losing that last game. They'll lose the whole series. They don't have any other games to fall back on. So psychologically, a very, very important game here. But yeah, it's going to be intense, and yeah, like you said, if it does go into a longer game, FlaSh, just to reemphasize, is macro. He is like the living embodiment of macro. He is so good at macro. He just, especially lately, he's good at macro, and lately he's been even on top of his own game, just been pumping out the units so fast. It's like cheater style. They used to call Uve the cheater Terran because he had such good macro that he seemed like he had armies appear out of nowhere, and that's exactly what FlaSh does. He just, when they click back to his base, he's always got a new huge army. I mean, like we saw in game 1, Calm would finish off his whole army in the field, and then FlaSh would somehow be moving out with another group of 18 medics and marines already, and then he would do battle with that group, and then FlaSh would have 24 medics and marines and 3 tanks and 4 vessels just out of nowhere. So FlaSh definitely has the advantage in any kind of a situation like that. But anyway, Calm proving that he has what it takes to battle FlaSh and show straight up. And like I said, Calm is definitely one of the few Zergs that has that ability to do that. Hopefully we'll see, we keep talking about this, hopefully we'll see something maybe a little bit clever, maybe a fun build, maybe something a little bit offbeat, or an interesting strategy from Calm here to try and battle FlaSh. That would be fun to see.
Yeah, I think that with the spawning positions, it could Pringles. It could go either way here. Because one thing as a Terran player, you need to be very, very careful that you don't end up getting isolated outside that natural expansion by lurkers. And that's what I've seen a couple Zerg attempt, is just go lurkers, because you can just sit on top of the ramps at the 12 o'clock position, or the, well, the 9 o'clock position. Or, I keep doing that. 3 o'clock position. Having trouble with my positionings today for Calm. You can just sit on the interior of the ramp, make sure that ramp on your natural secondary is somewhat protected, and then you're pretty much good to go from there. But as a Terran player, yeah, you need to make sure you don't get isolated away from your next base, which for FlaSh is going to be that 9 o'clock base. So the cross position will be better early on, I think, for Calm, but if he's going to try to go for some sort of lurker contain, could it be a little bit more difficult, because he does have to go caddy corner to try to get some reinforcements, and it looks like he's going to open up with a 12 hatch, and it looks like either way I think FlaSh is going to end up scouting him second. I don't think he's going to do a cross-map scout, because there's really no need to in this matchup. Unless you're the Zerg player, I guess. But yeah, I think that overall is going to end up favoring FlaSh, just because, I mean, he's really strong macroeconomically, because he's not going to be facing as much pressure to defend that third base. I think he's going to be able to sneak in a couple extra SCVs. So yeah, I think at least towards the mid game, FlaSh is going to have a little bit of an edge, but past that, yeah, I expect to see some absolute fireworks.
And FlaSh cleverly just going in just far enough to see if there's creep or building at that second base there, since he figures it would be there by now, and then moving out. And for some reason, they're showing the space around behind the expansion there. Interestingly, maybe they're talking about turret placement or something like that for FlaSh. Anyway, so it looks like Calm doing kind of the same thing as last game. where the first game he went for like an overpool into an early 2-hatch, and then the last game he went for a 12-hatch, and then into like I said, the kind of later 2-hatch where you get your 2-hatch and you have a little bit more economy, and go off of that. So it looks like he's going to be doing the same thing he succeeded with last game, which obviously makes sense. FlaSh has that scout in there, even though he scouted him second, not really going to be very important. And Calm morphing Laird is a natural expansion, just so that FlaSh doesn't quite see it start, because if he knows exactly when it starts, he's going to know the exact timing of when the Spire is going to go up and such. So he's going to have an idea of the timing, but he won't have the exact timings that way. That's why we sometimes see players do that with the place of the other expansion. Oh, and Calm catching that SCV, hunting it down, killing it off there with his Zerglings. Again, something that he did, well, something he did in the first game that didn't really help him very much. But FlaSh now very much in the dark. He didn't see that lair go down, and now he's not going to be able to see it when the Spire goes down. He's not going to be able to see how many drones are being produced, that kind of thing. So at least Calm has that going for him. But FlaSh has his second base up right now. He looks like he's about to send some SCVs over there, and going to start getting more barracks up. Going to start pumping out units. Yeah, pressure's on.
Yeah, Calm hunting. He's sending out a lot of those Zerglings to try to catch an SCV that might be out in the field. I don't think FlaSh is going to see this coming. I think he's still going to defend against it, but I don't think he's going to see it coming. He's got to be surprised by this. He's going to have that Academy first, rather than the, well, we'll see how it goes. It looks like he's getting that gas alongside. Again, a little bit defensive on the natural secondary, a little bit worried about Zergling run by, but I think he's going to be completely caught off guard. This is not standard. You usually do not see 2-hatch play on this map, and I think I really do think Calm's going to be able to get a lot of damage done as a result. And right now, I think he needed an engineering bay a little bit ago, and he's going for a third barracks. He's going to be completely turretless, I think, when these Mutalisks start breaching in.
Yeah, he still has a few seconds to get his eBay started, I think, because last time, or that first game, we thought that he wasn't going to have it up in time, and he barely had his turrets up in time, and he started his engineering bay basically when the Spire was half done. So if he's got one started now, I guess theoretically he could have something going on. But his Academy is also going to be up late, so that means that he's probably not going to have Stim upgraded very quickly either. He has those cross positions though, so it's going to take a long time for those mutas to get all the way down. And there's the engineering bay starting just before the Spire finishes. So he is not going to have turrets before those mutas pop. The mutas are morphing now. The engineering bay isn't even completed yet. But he may be saved just by that long distance. And this may, in fact, be something that FlaSh knows the timing of because of the long distance between the cross positions. Anyway, but still, Calm is going to be able to put on a lot of pressure. He won't have a lot of turrets up or anything. And there's a little bit of a run by, actually. Calm going in. FlaSh looks like he's pushing out. He is not coming back to save his base. He's pushing out with his first group of Medic Marines, going straight for Calm's natural expansion, is what it looks like. He may turn and go to that top left base and try and kill that off, but he's going to need to do some damage. And oh, he's going to try and catch the mutas midway. Oh, no! Oh, one muta goes down without a fight. Since it was rallied forward, Zergling's taking out a few Marines. Now the Firebats pop out to deal with those. They're going to be able to wipe that up. But Calm now stuck with only a single Sun Colony morphing into his base. He's got his mutas morphing out, but he needs to go. He needs to stop rallying them into the Marines there. He's lost one Mutalisk. He's gotten damage to other Mutalisks as well because of that group out there. He's got a single Sunken Colony. So, wow, this is a little bit crazy. Both players barely surviving each other's kind of initial attacks there. Well, not barely, but still, both players having to kind of scramble to fight off the initial attacks, and barely getting that Sunken Colony out, barely getting those Firebats out. So kind of intense counter pressure there going on. And now Calm has to stay back in his base though to defend against this group for a little while until he can pick it off, until he can get enough mutas out to really deal with it easily. And so he's not going to be in a position to be constantly picking off SCVs when he's not engaging Marines, which is what he really wants to be doing right now.
That was absolutely genius by FlaSh. FlaSh had that third barracks. He was going to be a little bit money short on getting the turrets up, so having additional Marines and knowing he wasn't really going to be able to get the turret coverage he really wanted to, he just sent that attack force out, caught several Mutalisks just out in the field in transition, and kept those Mutalisks back while he shored up his defense. And as a result, yeah, he lost a couple SCVs and a couple Marines there to the Zerglings, but that saved him a lot of trouble. And I'm curious to see if actually a lot of Terran are going to start doing that in the future, sending out the... Well, it's a little bit risky once Zerg know what you're doing, but still, that was an absolutely brilliant, quick adjustment to basically save a ton of economic damage on FlaSh's part. I think he was definitely caught off guard, but his transition was beautiful. A little bit unlucky there for Calm. Lost a Mutalisk right as it was coming up on that ramp, but still not a bad position for Calm. He's not getting all that bonus economic damage he was hoping to get, but he's still going to have that third base up in plenty of time in that upper left-hand corner. I think he's going to have lurkers out in plenty of time to help deal with that. He's not going to touch that natural secondary with all those turrets up, but I'm not sure that he really needs to at this stage, and I think FlaSh might have actually overcommitted on turrets just a little bit there. So I think Calm's going to be in a pretty good position going into this mid-game.
Yeah, he built a lot of turrets. They're very, very worried about the counterattack, and I think that makes sense for FlaSh. You know, if he can play defensively, he knows that he can macro up later on, and probably out macro almost anyone. Actually, kind of reminds me of the way Yosh plays. Yosh plays very defensively, and then just comes out with a bunch of units later on. So same sort of thing. Yosh knows he can just out macro everyone, and so he plays more defensively. He kind of wastes a little bit of money on turrets that might not be necessary, but then he's very secure and doesn't lose anything that way. And Calm again picking off another group of Marines that got kind of separated from the main group there with his Mutalisks. And he has lurkers out now as well. A couple on the ramp. I think it's probably a double stack lurker on that ramp there. Is not going to be able to get into that location, I don't think. He's got Comsat, but I don't think he's going to be able to storm that ramp right now. So Calm in a very good position. He's got his third gas secured. He's got his natural expansion secured. He's going to, I think he has his hive started as well. So he's going to be able to pretty much out-tech. Well, actually, no. FlaSh has his starport, I think. I remember seeing him have a starport. Yeah. So never mind. He's not going to be able to out-tech him, but he's going to stay even in tech at least. He's not going to be caught with just Mutalisk tech when the irradiates come out.
Gotta say, FlaSh is doing an incredible job of macro right here, and Calm losing another little miscue, lost another Mutalisk. FlaSh making a very uncharacteristic positioning mistake a little bit earlier, had all those a greater Spire from Calm, and now actually realizing he's going for greater Spire on this kind of shift. He needs to be very, very careful preserving his Mutalisks. He can't afford to keep replacing them. It's a very gas-heavy build, so he needs to actually baby them a little bit more than he is right now. He's already lost several. But yeah, I want to go back to that. That was the first time I think I've ever seen FlaSh lose a group of Medic Marines uncontested. And right now, a big, hold lurker trap in the middle. I don't think the Science Vessel is going to be out. I think FlaSh actually might push us a little bit forward, so this could be a very successful attack, but I'm not sure how well this is going to work out for Calm. I think there are going to be radiates. I don't know if he's going to have enough Guardians to inflict as much damage as he really wants to. And we'll have to see how it works, though. And it looks like just unburrowing the lurkers, there was maybe wasn't able to kind of spring that lurker trap like he wanted to. I think that might have just been a little bit of off positioning. He is going to be able to hold this army back, though, in the meantime, to get that next level of tech for himself.
There may have been a Comsat going out or something like that. FlaSh now putting down his second control tower. First vessel is out now, so he's going to be able to move out. And look at this beautiful positioning by FlaSh, spreading him out and moving in. Nicely done. Calm at least reacts very quickly. He's going to be able to pull back his lurkers. Saves, well, a couple of them, a few of them at least. And now he's morphing Guardians right outside of FlaSh's natural expansion. He's going to be able to do some damage there. He's got the Defilers out as well. He's got a lot of tech units going on for just having 3 gas. He's got lurkers there. If he can get swarmed down, he's going to be in good shape. FlaSh, I think this is a bad idea. He's got the Guardians coming in. He's going to be able to do some damage, but FlaSh is going to be able to get wraiths out or something in raid. Consume is finished. He gets the swarm down on the ramp. Nicely done, just in the nick of time before that army came down. And now FlaSh's natural expansion getting assaulted by these Guardians. I think he's probably going to be able to clean it up without too much trouble. Yeah, he's just going to be able to make some raids. Reminds me of that game against Zero that he played the other day where Zero even protected against the raids, but he went for this Guardian build. It worked beautifully, except he just didn't account for FlaSh scouting it and going mass raids. Anyway, so these Guardians are going to go down to these raids. I don't know why he didn't anticipate this and get a couple of Devourers or something in the mix. So now these Guardians are just going to get... he's going in with Scourge, which might be able to take... No, the Medic Marines are going to intercept the Scourge. So...
Nice position.
Yeah, nicely done. So the Guardians are going to go down without doing enough damage to be worth their weight, because that was a lot of gas. That was, 6 Guardians Wow. That's tons and tons and tons of gas he spent on all the Mulisks and the Guardians. So wow, Calm was in a good position, but now he's just lost a lot of money pointlessly.
Yeah, I think, well, we'll have to see how it works, because he was able to stop that gas for a while, and the Wraith, well, we'll see how what he can do with the Wraith, because those are Wraith, not Science Vessels. But still,
True.
3 gases out. Calm is still in a pretty good position, I think. I don't think the game's out. I still would actually put him somewhat ahead, except for that large army that's out in the field right now. A pretty good swarm to kind of press that back. What FlaSh needs to do, though, is he needs to secure, well, I'm sorry, reverse that. What Calm needs to do is he needs to secure that natural expansion. He needs to shore up his defenses and have something. He needs to wipe out one of these armies somehow. He needs to do some sort of damage to these armies, because that is a big group of Medic Marines that's going to be fairly highly upgraded, and if he doesn't get something to kind of stomp on that to kind of minimize that, he's just going to end up getting, I think, overwhelmed. And it looks like FlaSh, in the meantime, taking that 6 o'clock position. Yeah, I think it's really it's on Calm to do something now with all the gas that he has available to him. Right now it looks like he's just trying to deal with these Wraith that are running around killing Overlords.
Yeah, Calm has managed to get, picks off that Wraith, nicely done. But yeah, he was actually able to do a decent amount of harassment with those Wraiths, so they were not, completely worthless at all. Lurkers getting irradiated here at the front. No, I don't see any Lurkers there at that natural expansion, but I guess he didn't feel like he had quite enough to go in there. Now, this is a position where it was going to turn into a longer game, probably, because FlaSh can macro up off 2, going on 3 bases for a long time. Calm, however, can really hold off almost indefinitely if he plays it right, if he gets his swarms down and his Lurkers down and keeps up and is able to pick off Science Vessels. Once FlaSh gets a ton of Science Vessels, he'll be able to just irradiate the crap out of everything. And no, Plague's out as well. So it's going to be fun to see those Swarm Plague combos. And it looks like he's going to put a Spore at his natural as well to keep those Science Vessels away if he can manage to plague them. But anyway, it's going to turn into a longer game, which is going to benefit FlaSh, because then FlaSh can basically keep Calm pinned into those 4 bases and starve him out in those 4 bases, because FlaSh is going to be able to maintain map control a lot better than Calm can. Look at the blobs of yellow all over the map. The map is covered in yellow, and Calm is just cowering in his 2 corners right now, not able to move out or do anything. So he's, like you said, he's going to have to do something. He's going to have to try and do some drops, or I don't know what he's going to have. He's going to have to get something to put some pressure back on FlaSh. Otherwise, look at this. This is FlaSh for you. Taking a 4th base. Most Terrans would just chill on their 2 or 3 bases and just pump out a bunch of units. No, FlaSh is going to take a 4th base, probably going to take a 5th base, and just go crazy with his macro, and just win the game in the long term.
Ah, the standard, that was the old school Zerg defense, getting a Spore Colony to try to defend there alongside, usually versus Protoss, this time seeing it against Terran for once. The Ultralisk Cavern is up. Calm has stored a lot of gas, so we should see some Ultralisks in not too long. They need to be fully upgraded once they're coming out, and I think there's going to be one big push opportunity, and it's going to be a really significant battle where you see the first grouping of Ultralisks and the first grouping of Defiler, and a couple Defilers, I should say, not the first grouping of Defilers, moving out. Looks like that 12 o'clock base FlaSh is going to stop before it starts, but Calm needs to inflict a lot of damage. Wow, going to be able to get it out. Wow, that was incredible timing there. But yeah, he needs to be able to go get it, kill some units with it, wipe out that army, and if he can wipe out any sort of portion of FlaSh's army with that combination and press back down and do some damage to FlaSh, I think he's going to be in a great position to win this match. If he does not, however, if FlaSh, some SCVs looked like they were in transfer and a little bit confused, a little bit back. Overlord getting killed in transition as well. But if he doesn't do anything with those Ultralisks, I think that is going to be it. FlaSh is just going to be able to maintain the map control absolutely forever. So that's going to be the next big significant battle. I think they're both just about even on upgrades. Nice play right there. We have level 2 Carapace, level 1 weapons on one side, where I think we're probably at 2, one on the opposite side as well. I haven't seen a Marine to check it in a while, and honestly I think I've lost track of where the upgrade started, so keep in mind that engineering bay came out a lot later than it normally would have.
Yeah, that's true, and Calm is doing kind of what is a good thing for him to do right now. Zerglings, especially when they're crack upgraded, can be so cost efficient. They're really good for keeping pressure on your opponent without spending much money, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's spending money on these groups of cracklings, sending them out, harassing that bottom right expansion, things like that. And there we go, there's a couple Lurkers in there. They're going to get irradiated pretty quickly, but again, he's going to stop mining. It looks like he got 1 kill on 1 Lurker. So not a lot of damage done, but a lot of harassment done and keeping those guys off guard. And it looks like Calm's trying to move into this base and clean up the right side, the 3 o'clock base, to maybe expand there. He's cleaned up 12 o'clock to expand there, although he's going to have to cancel that because of a few a few Marines coming in there. Critically, FlaSh has got about 5 or 6 science vessels in the air now. One got irradiated and plagued and then picked off by the spore colony earlier, but he's been keeping his vessels mostly alive. So before too long, he's going to have that critical mass of vessels going on, and Calm knows this. That's why he's got he's going to try and plague them, and he's got the Mutalisk already set to go in and just own the plagued science vessels, which is just beautiful to see. It's always beautiful to see when they go in with just one Mutalisk and kill off like 7 or 8 science vessels. That can turn the game in the Zerg's favor. It looks like he's going in for a drop in the bottom right-hand corner here. He's going in. FlaSh, I think, sees it. He's moving some of his forces back, but they're not quite fast enough. The drop is going to go down, and no, he's going to get forced back. Oh, the Filer pops out, does get a swarm down just in time. Most of the units forced to drop behind the mineral lines, gets another swarm out. It's going to force that back again, so he may be able to do some damage to that bottom right expansion after all.
Wow, interesting, and actually able to get the Ultralisks up, get a nice swarm down, now establishing position. This is really, really clever from Calm. I love this play, and he's going to be able to get a couple science vessels. Nice play from Calm.
Oh.
This is exactly what he needs. Took out so many science vessels.
Oh, man.
So many science vessels
left.
right there. He has Ultralisks. Just devastating up in here. Beautiful attack. I like Calm's choice of going drop, because the thing that's beneficial for Zerg in the mid game of having those ramps that are fairly easy to defend with the lurkers is what's detrimental in the late game when you're trying to go up against a Terran army, which is just a group of medic marines planted right on that ramp, and you just can't bust through with Ultralisks. But with that drop, you can just send all the units in up above and then just turn what is usually a disadvantage directly into an advantage. So I like that choice of going drop at this stage of the match. He's actually got all the tech out there that he could possibly want that's going to allow him to do a lot of transitions. I think FlaSh has a lot of siege tanks out here. I think he was expecting Calm to try to go and pin him into his main base and try to play it that way. It looks like that is what he's going to do now. He's got a lot of Zerglings headed out that direction. More science vessels getting killed as they're coming across. Looks like they were able to irradiate, but a lot of Zerglings coming in to that very exposed natural expansion. Looks like that bunker going to help out now, and a couple Ultralisks that are going to be able to kill a couple a couple Marines right there. No medics in that grouping between the irradiate and just some hits. But Calm did a lot of damage with that. He was able to establish that 12 o'clock base. I think he's in a really good position here. He just needs to keep up with these brilliant attacks, absolutely brilliant attacks, and that's what just the Thinker Zerg.
Wow, and he has been doing a really good job keeping those science vessels down. FlaSh somehow has a bunch of science vessels still. Oh, almost running them into some Scourge. But again, doing pressure with the Cracklings. He should be throwing in a couple Ultras to suck up damage so the Cracklings can do more damage. He'd be able to do a lot more with those little attacks, I think, if he did that. But again, the Cracklings are cheap, and he's saving up gas. Right now he has 2,000 gas in the bank, so Calm is in a position there where he could be able to send out more Ultralisks. He's able to produce a lot of Ultralisks at this point. He's able to get out enough Scourge to deal with these vessels, that kind of thing. Wow, but we're seeing less Defilers, though. So he's not getting so many plagues off, which would be a really good thing to have against these marine armies. And oh no, going with ultras in, and oh, with the vessels, oh my god, almost every vessel dies. A couple vessels going down, and there's the swarm with the ultras and the lurkers. Calm doing a brilliant freaking job of just using every unit right now, just using every unit in combination really, really well. Well, not every unit, obviously, but just doing really, really well. And FlaSh, wow, is actually getting pushed back here. I expected FlaSh to keep map control and stop Calm from getting that 12 o'clock base. And now, in fact, Calm has pushed things back so much that now FlaSh is pinned in his base. Calm has gotten 12 and 3 going. So now Calm is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases, and FlaSh still at 4, so it's still anyone's game. But Calm has definitely not been contained like most other Zergs would have been at this point.
Yeah, I think one of the problems right now for Calm is just getting defilers out in the field. It's extremely difficult with such a wide map and with those science vessels roaming out there. I think this is the same reason he's been able to kill so many science vessels, is FlaSh wants to intercept those defilers while they're out on the ground. Hasn't really been able to. Looks like he might lose an Overlord full of some stuff right here. So it looks like these units were able to get there. It looks like some science vessels need to be careful in that transition. But this is the thing, is you need defilers and you need that swarm to join. And Calm actually able to catch the Marines out of position on that bridge with a couple Zerglings. Not going to be able to get as much damage as he wanted to because they're just coming in piecemeal. But still keeping FlaSh very off balance here. Unfortunately, I almost feel like FlaSh can still play the camper game and end up winning it as long as he keeps those science vessels wandering out in the middle. Just make sure you could, with the gas, you can just keep replenishing them, irradiating those defilers out in open field. Now, it looks like he is getting a lot of irradiate right now, radiating absolutely everything. And I think the counter for this, actually, for Calm is just, to have some, maybe even transition to something more effective at taking science vessels out. Just make sure he just constantly has these Scourge out in the air, taking them out, and he is doing a good job now. But yeah, he needs to keep those science vessels down critically, and I think that's the stage of this war, is the defilers moving out, getting irradiated, the Ultralists getting irradiated out in the open field, because that's the thing with level 3, looks like level 3, level 2 currently, but once it's level 3 Marines, and those siege tanks as well, you need defilers in your army to get it, and when they have to travel so far, they're just so vulnerable.
Yeah, he has a ton of siege tanks out right now. He has got those siege tanks camped at his natural and on the other side as well, so he's got some really good defense against Ultralists, anything like that. Anything on the ground is going to get pretty much obliterated. And so it's good that Calm is trying for these drops. But he's still also got those medic marines moving around, trying to prevent the drops, that kind of thing. So again, it could really go either way, but man, he is really committed to those tanks. And unfortunately, it's, oh man, how did he managed to take out that left side hatchery? That's interesting. I didn't think he'd get it. Oh, sending a couple vessels to do some eraser is going to get a few drones. Not as many drones as he'd hoped, but he's going to stop mining at that base. And so again, FlaSh using some cleverness of his own to fight back here. It looks like 5-3 on those Ultralists, so they are fully upgraded Ultralists now. Against fully upgraded Marines, so we are seeing the top tier game right now. It is on. We're seeing full upgrades on everything right now, and it's gonna just get wacky. Unfortunately, what I was gonna say is that Calm can't really transition into air. It just doesn't work to transition into air to try and fight the tanks. I mean, that'd be kind of like the obvious thing. Sort of obvious thing is, oh, if he's got a bunch of tanks, go air because tanks can't attack air. But it's not really an option against the Terran, who especially has that many mech marines around. So anyway, but he's just going to have to go in with the swarms and things, just like you said, almost going in for an attack there. Too many tanks, he's going to have to back off. But yeah, like you said, he's going to need the swarms out to really be able to do any damage with the rest of his units.
And I think what he needs to do actually is just to dedicate the little bit of supply to get some burrowed lurkers right on that edge of that ramp. He keeps leaving that open, thinking you can transition back around. I almost feel like you should bring those lurkers that are in the upper left-hand corner, bring them down here, knowing that your Ultralisks are just going to be running all over the place across the middle of the map. Let's see if he's going to be able to do that here in a second. You can see that huge Ultra army moving in. But yeah, that is really scary. But this is what you expect out of an OSL final right here, or I guess semifinal at this stage. But this is what you expect out of the top tier level of play. This is StarCraft at its best. The huge army versus huge army, the big economy versus big economy. And let's see if Calm, he's doing an excellent job, but keep in mind, FlaSh just brilliant with his macro at this stage of the game. Looks like the science vessels, so he does have the lurker there now, but the science vessel is able to run in and do a quick irradiate.
Wow, but Calm has just, oh my god, look at that. That is over a dozen Ultralisks with Defilers alongside. He's irradiating the Defilers before they can get to battle, though. That could be crucial if he doesn't get the swarms off in time, and he's going to have to fall back because his Defilers got irradiated en route, but now the vessels have to run for their dear lives. Wow. So some incredible back and forth going on there. That is a ton of Ultralisks. Oh my god, that's insane. FlaSh now is almost maxed out, however, with all those tanks and medic marines and what have you. Calm is at 160 supply, so he's in a good position too. I mean, that's that chunk of Ultralists. It's just a huge chunk of supply right there. But this is getting crazy. Calm has not been able to secure that 9 o'clock base, though. Oh man, killing off 3 more vessels! Wow, he has been able to kill so many vessels this game. Now, it doesn't really matter too much at this point. With FlaSh being maxed out right now, it's going to be more tactical than anything at this point. Because both players have so much economy, so much money in the bank. especially FlaSh has over 2,000 minerals in the bank. FlaSh is in really good position in that form. But yeah, it's going to be more about tactics from here on out, because if if he takes out 3 vessels, that's not that big of a deal. FlaSh can easily replace a few vessels right now because he's got so much money in the bank and he's almost maxed anyway. So it's not like he's going to be low on units to deal with anything while he gets new vessels. So yeah, this is just insane. And now almost 3,000 gas in the bank for Calm, so he is also able to just put out whatever gas units he wants here, and so we're seeing him put down everything. And again, the 9 o'clock base is going to get taken out, it looks like.
And he can't push in. He's just got turrets and everything else in the way. I actually think this would be a good time to just build up a lot of gas, throw in all your Ultralisks, and do a quick transition to a lot of big air or Mutalisks, just to have a brutal amount of Mutalisks to deal with all of these tanks. Because those tanks are locked. FlaSh cannot turn those tanks into anything else. And he has so many of them. It looks like he is going to be able to get a swarm down. And he's starting to press his way in towards the main. He's going to be able to take out a lot of units.
God.
But this is a pretty... Wow, this is a huge exchange. It looks like he plagued a couple of his own Ultralisks, and now he's going to have to back out, which is a pretty big win for FlaSh. FlaSh right now is playing a camper game. He's trying to stay back, immediately Calm, switching back around. It looks like he is going to be able to stop production here at the 6 o'clock, so a pretty sizable victory in that regard, but I don't know how long he's going to be able to maintain it. Right now it's who can do what damage to who on whose economy, and right now I think FlaSh is winning that game, specifically because he's consistently denying that 9 o'clock expansion.
Yeah,
every time he runs in there and takes that out, that's another win. That's another win for him. And again, yeah, I think it would be kind of clever if Calm actually just keeps Ultralisks, uses them for defense for a little bit of time, just enough for defense, and then it really quickly switches to some sort of big air attack. Just runs in and takes whatever he can out. Maybe even just keeps some Mutalisks on the ground and cut a little bit of plague there to catch those science vessels as well. Because again, so many, just all those tanks in that bottom right would be extremely vulnerable to an attack like that. The problem with doing that, of course, though, is you're very vulnerable in the interim. And you've got to make sure you don't get completely run over by FlaSh. But I think that's a little bit better than letting FlaSh play this consistent camper run and take out that 9 o'clock style. He just sends out those little attack forces. If he keeps doing this, he will win just because he can just sit back on the troops he's got.
Wow, yeah, and FlaSh, wow, this is just insane. This game has been totally insane. Both players, yeah, took huge blows. It was really clever of Calm to turn around with those last forces once he kind of forced FlaSh back into his base and attacked that 6 o'clock position. But he just keeps losing 9 over and over and over again. FlaSh is probably taking that base out, at least 6 or 7 times. He's now upgrading the weapons for his tanks as well, since he's kind of pretty much got nothing else to spend his money on at this point. He's managed to macro back up. Even after the exchange, he lost, 50, 60 supply or something like that. Managed to macro all the way back up. Still has money in the bank. Calm still has money in the bank as well. Both players still doing fine on their economies. And here he comes in, a ton of tanks. He needs to get the swarm down now. He needs the swarm down now. Everything's just going to get slaughtered. Oh, man. Huge slaughter going in there. But he manages to just have too many units and breaks in nonetheless. There's no medic marines to back up that. FlaSh, however, is countering, attacking the 12 o'clock base while his natural expansion is getting hit. He's having to pull tanks and units from the right side base to come over here to save his main here. I think he's probably going to be able to hold that. I'm not sure. It depends on what he has at the top of that ramp. No, his ramp is breached. Vessels are in there, but there's Scourge coming in as well. He's got some Marines at the top, but there's Ultras. This is absolutely insane. He's managed to kill the 12 o'clock base, but now his main base has been breached. Both players just going kind of like the beginning of the game where both players attacked and kind of sacked a little bit of their own defense in order to do an attack on the other one. And we're just seeing the same thing here where FlaSh taking out the 12 and Calm taking out a bunch of stuff at the natural expansion there. Now some kind of skirmishing going on in the middle. Calm was trying to take out that force, that rogue force roaming around in the north part that just took out his 12 o'clock base. So things just going crazy back and forth. Calm, I think, took a little bit more of a hit in that. He didn't get those swarms down that he kind of needed to really save his lings. So only a few units, even though he did break FlaSh's defense, he only got a few units in there. So I think FlaSh came out of it a little bit ahead because he's got more money in the bank as well, so he's going to be able to macro back up a little bit quicker. Although, actually, no. Looking back down there, FlaSh has used all of his money up to replenish his force, so his supply is back up, but he no longer has that huge stash in the bank. Although, his economy hasn't been damaged as much either, so still could go either way here. A Radiate's going off. It looks like he's trying to erase things in the middle. Plague's going down. Ling's running around. It is I'm and the 9 o'clock base goes down for the 100th time. So wow, he does need to get some air units in the air now because FlaSh is just abusing those vessels at this point.
Yeah, it looks like those vessels might win the day for him. I think that exchange was much more favorable for FlaSh. Calm, what he really wanted to do is he wanted to run in and take out all those barracks. He wanted to take out the production lines. Wasn't able to do so. And right now, Calm, it looks like, is just macroing up. He's just looks like he's able to replenish his forces much more rapidly. And I feel like Calm is getting a little bit limited on his gas right now to stay. And he, again, lost that base at the 12 o'clock. So I think FlaSh has somewhat of an advantage economically. Well, a significant economic advantage, it looks like, because the main is you got to think about the depleted gas as well. Calm's not going to have the gas which he needs to maintain this army. He's definitely not going to be able to take that center base, and he hasn't been able to take out that 9 o'clock in the meantime. The game's certainly not over, but it's definitely looking. That was kind of devastating. But it's definitely, I feel like, moving more and more towards FlaSh's favor. I'm not sure what Calm can do to switch right back into it, and level 3 weapons on those tanks going to make them very, very dangerous against those Ultralisks. So yeah, Calm can definitely play this kind of camper style, run out, do the irradiates, and just sit back while Calm has to just eat losing units essentially. And again, that's just going to eat into his gas supplies. It looks like he's going to lose some Zerglings off these irradiates as well, and that's just frustrating.
Wow, yeah, losing like over a dozen Zerglings just to standing next to the Ultras there. Still has a lot of gas in the bank, though. I don't think Calm's really hurting for gas at this point. He's actually hurting for minerals, having lost that 12 o'clock base. He's gotten it back up now, but he's mined out at both of them are mined out at their main and their natural. Oh my god! Oh man, a huge flock of Scourge running in and killing every vessel except the one. Calm consistently taking those out, and those vessels are the end game unit. I mean, they're, especially when you get mined out, your vessels are going to be what you really need around because they can regenerate their abilities. You know, they're going to be the ones. The spellcasting units are always the kind of the ace in the hole when everyone starts running out of money on it when the map gets mined out. So taking out those vessels is huge for Calm. Since they're both getting close to mined out. I think Calm is mining off like 2 bases right now. FlaSh is just mining off of 2 bases. His third is about to mine out. His bottom right base is about to mine out. So they really only each have 1 or 2 healthy bases at this point. So it's, you can see they're having a hard time macroing back up. Although FlaSh is back to maxed, and Calm is not quite near there exactly at this point. So FlaSh again in a little bit of a good position. We're probably going to see FlaSh try and take another base pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the middle, or after he takes out this 9 o'clock base for the friggin' jillionth time. He's probably going to try and take that base as well. Probably going to see FlaSh try and take that. We could see Calm try and take another base too, I guess. He might try and take the middle. But I don't know if he has enough map control to really take that middle base. But Calm's going to need to get another base or kill off one of FlaSh's functioning bases. He's going in for an attack here on the bottom right. It's going to get quashed pretty easily. He's going in piecemeal. Way too many tanks there in the back. Medic Marines coming in to reinforce as well. The Ultras are going to be able to getting really close and actually do a lot more damage than I expected. But yeah, they're finally going to get popped. And Calm, Calm, you can see it on his face. He's looking discouraged. He's starting to get worried. He feels this game slipping away from him.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough gas to replenish those Ultralisks. All these units, he
doesn't
didn't have the defilers to field. Well, I don't know. He doesn't have enough anything to replace the Ultralisks. Right now, FlaSh just has a much larger standing army. He has much better upgrades, so you just can't encounter the army in open field. Once again, the Defiler's getting taken out in open ground, and that's been his problem. He needs the Defilers with that army, especially against the large upgrades, and FlaSh has just been right there, killing those Defilers as soon as they're showing their face, even almost outside the natural expansion. It looks like he's going to move into that 12 o'clock while there's another kind of desperation attack happening in the bottom right, and I think this might be the match right here. There's not enough to really defend that 12 o'clock base. Once that goes down, Calm is not going to have enough to maintain the defenses, and it looks like he's going to GG right there. Big win for FlaSh, and I got to say that's got to be devastating for Calm, because Calm played so well.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. Both players playing really well, and then there at the end, FlaSh attacking 12. Calm tried to counter that natural, and if he had succeeded, he actually would have been in a really good position because he would have taken out FlaSh's only mining base at that bottom right natural expansion. But his just too many tanks, too much ground cover, not enough swarm, not enough anything. And wow, so Calm not able to effect the counterattack there, and that was huge. FlaSh has got to be tired now after macroing so much. Both of them got to be tired for macroing such for so long. But FlaSh taking a huge, huge win there. That was absolutely insane.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We're going to go on to the fourth set where Calm is going to be on the brink of elimination here. Absolutely huge match. Thanks for listening, guys.
GG.